Okay, hi everybody, and welcome back to Princess State of Mind, where we talk about fiction, fairy tales, and the fairer sex. This is episode 12. I'm Faith Moore, and this is our Disney Prince extravaganza as part of Disney March Madness, which is going on now all over Twitter, blowing up Twitter. I have some amazing, fantastic, fun guests with me today to talk all about Disney princes. Which is not Disney princesses, which is really hard to say, Disney princes. My first guest is author and dear friend, C.S. Johnson. Hi. I also I'm going down the line of my screen where I can see their pictures. Maybe you can too at home. And I also have Ginger, who is the host of the Fighting the Void podcast on YouTube. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. And also Jacob Airey, who is a author, YouTuber, blogger extraordinaire. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
A pleasure. Okay, so for anyone who is watching at home, I no longer can see how many people are watching. I don't know if that's something that's happening to other people, but I can't tell anymore. Anyway, I'm going to assume that millions and millions of people are watching at home. And so there are going to be all kinds of opportunities for people to win things today. But the very first one is that at any time during this show, if you comment in the little comment box thingy, if you say hi to any one of us, you can say hi Faith, you can say hi CJ or CS Johnson, you can say hi Ginger, hi Jacob, or all of us, you will be entered into a drawing at the end of this show for this, which is a Saving Cinderella bookmark. Isn't it awesome? And of course, for those of you who don't know, how could you not know? Saving Cinderella is my book. Saving Cinderella, What Feminists Get Wrong About Disney Princesses. Oh, look, more than one of us have it. What Feminists Get Wrong About Disney Princesses and How to Set It Right. That's my book. But you can be entered. So type hi, one of our names, or just hi, and we'll enter you at the end. But there will be all kinds of other ways to win. But that's the first one that I want to tell you about. Okay, so Disney March Madness, Prince Edition. We've had one round so far. So some people are gone. Some people have advanced. We have lost Snow White's Prince, John Smith, Li Shang, Prince Naveen, Prince Charming, and Hans. They're all gone. We are still in the running is the Beast, Prince Eric, Prince Philip, Flynn Rider, Aladdin, and Kristoff. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Were there any surprises? Are your favorite princes still in? I don't know. What do you think, CJ?
I wasn't that surprised, but I felt kind of bad for not being surprised.
Well, you know, let's be honest. Some of the matchups they were easy to
it's
figure
round
out.
one. Round one, yeah.
You know what?
Sure.
What was it? It was like Eric versus John Smith or something, right?
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk.
Yes, although both sailors.
Okay.
So
I'm just still surprised that Little Mermaid is in the running, seeing how, it's not really that great. But
I know you hate them.
Oh yeah, I despise it. But the only reason I say that is because even though I know that there's some perception that Pocahontas is one of the first feminist Disney princesses, I still feel that because it's kind of an American story, there's this idea that John Smith, he represents that American prince, so to speak. So I that surprised me just a little bit. And also, but I also see Eric. I mean, he basically bails Ariel out of all of her mistakes at the end of the film. So
well, that's what I was going to say. Does your hatred extend to Eric?
No, not at all. I think Eric's a great character.
Oh, Eric is awesome. I mean,
come
on. He impales the sea witch with a freaking ship.
Can I just say how terrified I am? Because the next matchup is the Beast and Prince Eric, and I'm really worried that Prince Eric is going to win.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it could. That would be a spoiler for sure.
Now, Faith, did you say? I missed it. Did you say where's Prince Philip? Is he out?
No, Prince Philip is still in.
He's still in. Okay, good. Because I honestly think I think it comes down to whoever's going to win. It's going to come down to whether people like the guy who starts off with the awesome strength of character, and that's Eric or Philip, or the one with the good character arc who develops the most, and that's the Beast or Flynn Rider.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Really popular. I think if it comes, I think he's going to make it pretty far.
He's
Oh, yeah.
he's
out of all
arguably
our
the best
Rotten
movie.
Tomatoes, I think that was the one that we had the most votes for. So I was
Yeah,
like,
Yes,
and
people
I honestly
really
think
love him.
that's the only way I'm getting my wife to go see Shazam is that Zachary Levi plays Shazam and he's the voice of Flynn Rider. That's the only way I'm getting her into the theater.
What do you guys think it is about Tangled? Like, people really love Tangled. Like, I remember last year we did Disney March Madness with princesses, and I'm still recovering from the fact that Rapunzel beat Ariel. Like, I feel like I'm still picking myself up off the floor from that. Like, what is it about Tangled, do you think?
Well, in my humble opinion, it was probably the last of the real Disney princesses, and also Rapunzel is just a way more likable character than Ariel, in my opinion.
I'm about to get into your hatred of this movie.
I think I'm going to have Jacob's back on this a little bit, actually, because I kind of agree that Ariel is a bit spoiled, and Triton is made out to be this horrible bad person because he doesn't immediately acquiesce to his daughter's wishes.
Yeah, I mean, is that it for you? That like she's disobedient?
Not that she's disobedient. It's even Rapunzel is a little disobedient. It's the fact that she has such a good life and she wants more, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty much all the Disney princesses. The problem is she acts like a spoiled brat the whole time. So she lacks kind of the charm of Snow White and Cinderella. And she's got a great singing voice, and she's got really cool friends, I guess. And also, too, I think she kind of lacks a little bit of the innocence that Rapunzel has. And I think that to me is the thing. It's just to me, she just comes off as this, and she's the Angelica of the Disney princesses. She just whines, and she gets her wish at the end without really any consequences to it.
But what would you have her do?
Not whine and be a brat.
No, but how could she get what she wants? I mean, she wants. I mean, do you think she should stay a mermaid?
No, I don't think she should stay a mermaid. But
no. How should she become a mermaid?
Well, she should be more likable. Like it's got nothing to do with what she wants, or it's got nothing to do with what she wants or whatnot. But it's just it's not like Rapunzel, where she had kind of a terrible caregiver and she didn't know about it, like she was being brainwashed. Trita is, despite the fact that he's stern, he's still a good father, and all she does is plague him the whole movie. And I think that's kind of like, that's my take on it, is I just see she's a spoiled brat who needed a spanking, and then she probably would have been a really good character, you know? That's just my opinion.
From the image of you speaking, Ariel, and discuss the fact that at the end of this show, people can, there is a prize for anyone who placed a bet. So because now we're sort of talking about like who we think is going to win. Like at the beginning, we sent out a thing, people could place a bet, and then you had to do it before we started voting so that you couldn't like cheat and get halfway through and then say what your vote was. So anybody, that's not fair. So anybody who placed a bet and who Prince is still in the running, which I actually think is everyone who placed a bet. We had lots of bets. Get today, right now, not right now, but in this show, we are going to randomly select one of you to win a fabulous prize. And actually, the fabulous prize is, I think this is the one where, oh yeah, this is CJ's book, right? So a book by C.S. Johnson. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is? It's called The Princess and the Peacock.
Okay, sorry, yes. So The Princess and the Peacock is about, it's actually centered on sort of like the prince figure trying to become beautiful enough to win the heart of the princess that he's fallen in love with, but he's this ugly, scarred outcast from his village, and so he goes up the Forbidden Mountain in order to get a wish, to be granted a wish by the Fey Queen, Jaya. And all sorts of problems ensue, of course, from this.
It's a perfect prize for a prince situation. And it's great. I've read it. It's really awesome. And so when we do that, then we'll get in touch with you. And so we're gonna do the drawing for that at the end of this show live. And the winner, then we'll contact the winner, and you'll get the ebook version of that, which is really exciting. So back to the bets for a second. What are your guys' bets? Who's gonna win? So not like who you want to win, but like who do you think is gonna win? What are your thoughts? Anybody?
I bet Flynn.
See, yeah, I mean, I really think like I didn't understand this until last year when Ariel got kicked out super early and I almost died. I might still be dead, I don't know. But but I didn't understand how popular Tangled is and Flynn, like how much everyone's in love with him or something. Okay, so Flynn, Jacob, what's yours?
Oh man, this is so hard. I actually think in my heart of hearts, I think it's going to be the Beast. I think he's going to go all the way. I think he's just such a dynamic character. And even if you didn't like the modern remake, the classic, I believe it was only the second picture to go to win or to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So it just from that fame, I think it's still in us, all us 90s kids, we still kind of remember it. So I think Beast is going to go all the way.
Yeah, I hope so. CJ, what do you think?
Okay, I get to be the tiebreaker. I actually think Flynn is going to win this one.
It would be my second guess.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, both of them do have kind of that redemptive arc of, and I think on that level though, Flynn is more relatable because we're all kind of damaged and transformed by life. Like, and a lot of us are more literally like Flynn than we are more. I mean, like, even if we're metaphorically more like the Beast. So.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, because I always say that there are these sort of two types of Disney prince. There's Prince Charming. So you've got like Prince Charming, Prince Philip, the prince from Snow White, who is apparently named Prince Florian.
Well,
there's Prince Gilder too in there.
Yeah, and right,
Prince
and then
your name is Kit, so
exactly, Kit, Prince Charming. And then you've got like the Beast version, so like the Beast, Aladdin, Flynn Rider, Prince Naveen, like people like princes who initially are like not so attractive, and then they have a transformation, and that's part of their story. So like, and I definitely think that the Beast category is more popular than the Prince Charming category, for a variety of reasons, which we'll probably talk about. So yeah, I'm going with the Beast just because I would be so sad if he lost. I'm gonna be like, if the Beast, can I just like say this right now? If the Beast does not win against Prince Eric, like I may, like, you may just like never see me again. Like, I'm really gonna go in my room and cry.
Because blackmail the audience.
Yes, that's fine. I can sway everybody. That's good. I just, the Beast is like my all-time favorite Disney character. So that's all I have to say about that. Moving right along. So I think. All right, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see, because I think it's going to start to get more exciting, because the first one we had to get rid of people like
John
Smith.
Yeah. And Li Shang, who's not even a prince. So
yeah, we had to get rid of,
not a princess. So what? You know,
no,
honestly,
Li Shang had to go. John Smith had to go. Whatever.
Whoever decided what movies get included in the Disney Princess, package, if you will. Somebody needs to sit down and have a conversation with them, because I'm sitting here watching them and I'm like, Mulan's not a princess. A lot of these don't even really have prince. Like, why is Brave considered in this canon? It's a Pixar movie. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
Yeah, the official word. So like the official rules are that in order to be a Disney princess, you have to be a human being. You have to either be born royal or marry into royalty.
Okay.
Or, just so Mulan can get in there, you have to like perform a feat of bravery.
Okay.
Getting up in the morning.
I don't know.
Those are the official rules, and I think you're right. That's exactly just to get Mulan in there.
It is. I mean, the whole thing about the official Disney princesses, the whole point is that once they stop making money on their own, like as a franchise.
Right,
so like, the reason that Elsa and Anna, this has nothing to do with princes, sorry, but the reason that Elsa and Anna are not official Disney princesses is because they make enough money on their own, because Frozen's so popular, to not have to be like roped in with the other ones. So then once they stop making money, then they get roped in all together and they make money as like a unit. So that it has nothing to do with anything really, but whatever. Okay, moving right along. So I kind of wanted to talk just for a minute before we do another fun thing. I kind of wanted to talk for a minute about like the prince narrative or like the arc of a prince's story as opposed to the princess. Because, you know, I obviously talk a lot about the princess narrative and how it's about a young girl sort of transitioning into adulthood by breaking away from a parent figure and, you know, following her dream, et cetera, and emerging a woman. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are. I mean, I don't know, CJ, if you want to start, because I know you just wrote a whole story about a prince, what your thoughts are about, you know, what the prince's journey is. I am.
Okay. And this is actually one of my favorite topics to think about because, you know, like I call my husband, you know, my knight in shining armor. I don't actually call him my Prince Charming. But it definitely is one of those things where it's kind of like a coming together and a rounding out of like a shared human experience. And it's actually, you know, like with the princess, you have so much of the internal journey, and then with the prince, you have so much of the external journey, and then they kind of all just kind of meet in the middle with these events that kind of tie them together. It is really pretty how I pictured it in my head.
Right. I think that the female journey, and we sort of talked about this before, like the female journey is very internal. It's about kind of discovering who you are and, you know, becoming a woman. But then a male journey is much more external, like the hero's journey or, you know, some sort of adventure story. But then, you know, a lot of people complain about Disney princesses or fairy tale princesses, like they don't do anything, you know, they just show up. This isn't about like, you know, this isn't about what they're doing or like they're, you know, they're not really going out there and doing anything. So I guess I'm sort of wondering, like, are princes good role models? Like, should boys be looking up to this? I know, Ginger, I know you sort of rewatched these movies recently. Like, what are your thoughts about these princes?
Oh gosh, they are absolutely good role models. And like we already discussed, you know, you brought up, there are definitely two different kinds of Disney princes, and they both are role models in different ways. You know, like we said, Florian, Charming, and Philip, they're all the guys who they already know who they are before the movie even starts. They are fully formed characters. They're Aragorn the way Tolkien wrote him. They're heroes. They know the heroes. They've got a mission. They're there to do it, whatever that may be, and they're fully formed good characters that you can easily look up to. Some of them demonstrate it, like Eric is a fine example of someone who gets a chance to demonstrate it repeatedly in his movie. Philip, again, he also gets a chance to demonstrate it at the end when he takes on, literally spelled out by Maleficent, all the powers of hell. I'm sorry, that was just an awesome line. I was like, how did I not appreciate this more as a kid? That was a freaking awesome line.
Yeah. I was running away from the movie as a child, so I definitely did not appreciate it. I was like,
powers of hell now.
Yeah, the powers of hell, oh my gosh.
And then you've got the other ones, the beasts, like Beast and Flynn are the real examples here, where you've got people that they're not great. They're jerks. They're not the people you want to be around. Flynn can fake it, but if you can really get to know him, you realize that I kind of hate this guy. But you know, I think they're good role models. They show that wherever you are in life, you actually can change. You can improve. You can be a better person. You can go from being the Beast to being Prince Eric. So yeah, I think they're excellent role models.
Yeah, no, I often, when people ask me like, can boys get anything out of Disney princess movies, I usually point to Beauty and the Beast, because I think that the Beast is this amazing example of how to channel your sort of base urges, your masculine urges, into you know, something good without doing the sort of modern feminist thing of like eliminating them, right? It's like he's still there, he's still fighting for her and, you know, roaring and stuff, but you know, but he learns that you can't just get what you want by screaming at people all the time. And I think that that's really worthwhile. I know, Jacob, I know you also write fairy tale inspired stuff, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute, but I'm wondering, you know, from your kind of thinking about it, is the prince, I know you and I have talked about this before, but like, is the prince is that the sort of boy role model? Like what, or is there something else, you know, or is the prince not really who boys are looking to?
No, I think they are, because one of the things that about them is, like, especially if you look at Philip, like Philip is not my favorite Disney prince, but just definitely in the top tier. And I would say I admire Philip because he is incredibly brave, and exactly what Ginger said is he is already knows who he is, right? Because he's going to this kingdom that his dad is the king, and he's friends with this, and he just expects him to marry. But then he meets Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, out in the woods, and he's like, no, this is what I want. I'm a dad. It's the I think the line is, dad, it's the 15th century.
Yeah, the 14th century.
It's the 14th century.
14th century, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's actually one of my favorite lines in the movie. And so I like that about them. They're sure. And the ones who are unsure, like you said, the Beast and Flynn, and even Aladdin to some extent, they kind of develop into that, and you can watch the person grow. And it definitely, these characters definitely had an influence on my life, obviously. And so, yeah, for sure. I think that if you watch them, you can learn courage from them. You can learn bravery from them, not from the Brave the movie, but bravery from the Disney princes. And and also compassion and just having that protector spirit, like the Beast does for Belle when she's attacked by the wolves.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think it's that second category for the most part that has the most to offer, because it's that sort of transformation that happens that is sort of so important. But you're right. I mean, Philip, I write about like what the heck is going on at the end of Sleeping Beauty, but like suddenly Philip is like, you know, he's got the sword and the shield and he's killing the dragon. I mean, that's good stuff right there, you know? So I think you're right. And so transitioning from that into another way that people can win things, which is always good. So we have, if you've just joined us, one of the things that you can do is comment hi to one of us or all of us, and you can win a bookmark, Saving Cinderella bookmark. But we also have another awesome prize, which is that Jacob Airey has written a book that relates to this topic. Yeah, okay, hold on. Yes, good. Show it to us in 1 second, but I'm going to tell people how to win it, and then you can tell us what it is. Or is that backwards? Whatever. I'm going to tell people how to win it, and then you can tell us all about it, and then I'll tell them how to win it again. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to ask a Disney Prince related trivia question. None of you should answer it because you might know, but people at home, type the answer into the comment box, and one correct answer will be selected, and that person will win a prize. The question is this, and I will repeat it again once you hear about the awesome prize, and you're going to want it. So the question is this: what is the Beast's real name? Okay, so Jacob, tell us about your book, and this is what people can win.
So the book is titled The Seven Royals, All Good Things, and it takes your favorite fairy tale characters and puts them in sort of a fantasy setting. So you've got Prince James, who is the brave woodsman from Little Red Riding Hood. You've got Prince Philip, who's like a combination of Prince Charming and obviously Philip from Sleeping Beauty. And you've got Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and Rapunzel from Rapunzel, and Talia, who's actually from The Girl in the Glass Coffin, which is a similar variant of Sleeping Beauty. And their leader is Prince Jasher, who's actually based off a biblical character. And they're sent away for 10 years from, each of them are a prince and a princess from a different kingdom. They're sent away for 10 years because their homeland gets taken over by a dark army led by a mage named Fabius Thorn. And they're sent away. Jasher is kind of he's immune to magic, so he's kind of put into this stasis. And when he wakes up 10 years later, he's supposed to gather them together, and they're going to go back to their homeland and retake it. And Fabius sends his apprentice, whose name is Omri. He's a very evil, powerful wizard on a murderous mission to stop them. So that is the basic plot of the book. Along the way, they meet allies. You get to meet Snow White. You get to meet the Wicker Man, who's a Welsh fairy tales, and a whole bunch of other of your favorite fairy tale characters.
So perfect for this particular event. So again, to win the book, or to be entered into the drawing to win the book, just comment in the chat box, with the answer to this question, what is the beast's real name? Okay, so anytime between now and when this is over. When this is over and it's not live, sorry, you can't do that anymore. So please don't comment like 2 weeks from now with the beast's real name. Okay, well you can, but you won't be entered to win. Anyway, so now, okay, so when I was tweeting out that we were going to do this, I asked for questions from viewers for us about Disney princesses. So now I have a few questions from viewers like you at home, and for us to just kind of talk about. So here they are. Here's the first one. So Twitter user Mark2 Frankfurt wants to know, why is it that the prince is used as a male protagonist and not the king? Does anyone have any thoughts on that? I obviously do, but I'm also the host, so I don't know.
In a lot of the original fairy tales, it was a king, not a prince. I know in Sleeping Beauty, it was a king, not a prince, and same in The Girl in the Glass Coffin, and I believe in Beauty and the Beast, he was a king, not a prince. I could be mistaken about that, but I think too it was just they knew that a lot of young people were watching, and I think that they felt it was a decision to make the character seem more. You could connect more with the character. They seem more available. There's a great line in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs where you want the story to be about you, but not really you. And so everyone kind of likes this idea of I'm not quite there yet, but I'm on my way. And I think that's why they stuck with them being a prince and not a king.
I think there's definitely something to that, especially for the Disney movies. And CJ, it looked like you had an answer to that.
And kind of going off of that same thing, it's probably more of a youthful thing. And also, like when people talk about growing up and coming of age stuff, I really like coming of age stuff since I write it. And like for me, like a prince that meets his princess and falls in love and kind of completes the kingdom in kind of like a family sense. Sorry, my cat's here. It's very nice to have that, that setup for the happily ever after. Like sometimes you can just tell when like there's going to be a happily ever after. You want people to be able to dream on from that. With a king, it'd be like, oh well, now you're just part of you're the cog and the watch, and it's just business as usual. Only we have you now. I think with the prince, you have a lot more opportunity for more possibilities, and people like that.
Yeah, and I would say too, like going off of that, like the reason it's a princess instead of a queen is that the queen represents the kind of older woman who's past her prime. So like the stepmother or like the wicked queen or whoever is usually kind of the bad guy, right? And she's the one kind of holding the princess back from progressing into maturity. And so I think like the king is sort of the counterpoint to that. So like even though the prince isn't on the same kind of a journey, I think especially like in the sort of more modern retellings, I think it's sort of like you think of the king as like the old guy or the dad, and then the prince is the one that's the same age as the princess, and so they should get together. But you're right, that Jacob, that like there are lots of kings, because like I think even Rumpelstiltskin, some versions it's if you spin this for straw to gold, you can marry my son, but some of the versions are you can marry me, the king. So I think that like it is sort of interchangeable. It's more interchangeable, I think, than princess and queen, because I think those are two separate tropes, whereas king and prince are a little different. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, John Willow says, and I think this is going to get some of you. Okay, John Willow says, I've always found most of the Disney princes incredibly boring, especially as a child. I've always related to the princesses more. Outside of Shang and Flynn, what are good reasons to like princes? So Jacob, I know you really like Philip.
Philip,
right?
yeah.
You want to make a case for Prince Philip?
Yeah, he slays a dragon. It's like, I don't know. That's one of the reasons I didn't like Maleficent, was they totally took out, well, for one thing, Maleficent being the dragon, but also the Prince Philip getting an opportunity to slay the dragon. And so I kind of see the case, because like Cinderella, he's barely in it at all. And same with with Prince Charming and Snow White, he's barely in the film, so I can kind of see the case for maybe individual films, but as a whole, no way. Prince Philip, for sure, the Beast, and also Eric, really great character arcs, really well developed, and I think they, especially those, and I'll agree with Flynn, those four have really strong arcs in the films.
And also, Jacob brought up Aladdin earlier because we kind of been glossing over him. And honestly, I think it's a little bit because he doesn't quite fall into either category.
That's true.
Right.
He isn't quite the Prince Charming. He isn't quite the Beast. And I think it's because he's operating from a place where he has no real sense of his own worth whatsoever. He's actually very bogged down by his own insecurities of being a street rat. He wants to be more, but somewhere, inside him, he actually really does believe the pompous ass that interacts with on his way in to go try to woo the princess, that he really is just a street rat and will never be anything more. And that's why he doesn't let the genie go, when he has the opportunity at first.
Yeah. No,
so
he's complicated.
He doesn't fit into necessarily either category, but the fact that he is such a complicated character does definitely make him a character worth paying attention to. Is he necessarily a great role model? No, not until the end. Although, I mean, you see glimpses. You do see genuine glimpses where, he gives the bread to the two starving little kids at the beginning after he finally gets away, and now esteemed offendee we feast. Never mind, I'm going to give it to them. And also when he does in fact initially promise to rescue the genie, you do see him exhibit some of that diamond in the rough that he's touted as by the Cave of Wonders. So is he in there? I mean, he's definitely a good character. There's just he goes back and forth a lot, which in a lot of ways I think is a lot more realistic for most people. Very rarely do we have a truly linear development from not great guy to all of us to somebody that's worth emulating. Most of us go back and forth as we go through life, much like Aladdin in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think like, the question mentioned Shang, like Li Shang from Mulan and Flynn. Yeah. But I think like the sort of later characters, like sort of in chronologically, right, have much more, like you're saying, they have much more of a sort of a character arc, and they're complicated and they're interesting. I mean, the Beast has to be in there in like interesting characters, right? I mean, like, and Eric too. Yeah. I mean, like, we talked about him already, but yeah, like, I mean, he kills a giant octopus lady with a boat. I mean, what's not to like about that? And I think, for me, the early ones that are sort of more quote unquote boring, like Prince Charming and Snow White's prince and Prince Philip and everything, like I see them more as symbolic characters, because that's what they are in the original fairy tale, sort of symbolizing that the princess is now a woman. And I think that's kind of what they are in the fairy tales too. They just kind of show up a lot of the fairy tales. And I think they can sort of be appreciated in that way. We don't have to look at them and say like, ugh, so boring. We can appreciate the princess, and then we can appreciate that like the prince kind of shows up. That's this. Yeah, CJ, go ahead.
Okay, and for the earlier princes too, like a lot of people I know, like personally, confuse boredom for stability for boredom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the earlier princes, you do have them in a position where they really are like more or less ready to. They're packed up and ready to go. I mean, Prince Charming is going to marry a girl and inherit his kingdom and give like the king, some grandchildren to play with.
Yeah.
And you see Prince Philip, he's ready to take over his father's kingdom too. I mean, these are people that, these are characters that are on the cusp, if not over that hump of, they've completed all their training, so to speak, in this particular area of their life, and they're ready to move on. And like with the case of Prince Philip, they fall in love and they want to add to their kingdom's glory by marrying the girl that he loves. And for Cinderella's prince, he wants, like if you go in the live action one, it's like kingdom security, and then the other one, with Snow White, you do have kind of like this. You have this princess ready to step up, and I mean, he tells her, you know, I'm here. I want, you know, your love and affection to be returned. So I would actually say it's pretty obvious that you should relate more when you're younger, especially to the princess in those cases, because we're still growing up and we're not quite at that point where we can say, you know, like, I mean, like, no 13-year-old has their life together.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Like they do sort of represent the end of the story. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, it's kind of what I was saying before too, is like they represent that the princess is ready, but they also are kind of like, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily want to marry someone who didn't have a personality. And so for some of them, we're not sure. Like we don't really know. I mean, like we kind of assume that Prince Charming from Cinderella has a personality because like he's kind of yawning at the ball and like he's kind of funny, but like, and Philip is really funny. I mean, like Philip is like sarcastic and he talks to his horse and stuff and he falls over. I mean, he's funny. So I think, you know, I think it's not so much that like, I think you're right. It's sort of not, they're not complicated necessarily, but they're not boring. And there's a difference. So that's a good answer.
Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt, but I just wanted to say, and I think that's a problem is people think that it has to be complicated to not be boring. And if anything, VeggieTales has taught us, you know, us 90s kids, is that no, sometimes the simplest message is the best message. And I think it's the same with some of these princes.
I really missed out. Can I just say, I really missed out about the VeggieTales situation. I became a Christian later. I was not raised Christian, and I just missed out on the whole VeggieTales experience. I need to go back and somehow relive this.
Okay, start with A Meaningful Life, and Lord of the Beans. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, that's good.
You know, it's funny because I actually told someone who actually got mad at me for saying this, but I said I learned more about God from watching VeggieTales and Carmen music videos than I did from Sunday school. So.
All right. Well, clearly I need to, like, you know, further my religious education by watching some VeggieTales. All right. I think
you've got a good excuse. You've got kids.
I know.
No one will get you weird. Just take the kids with you into the
I'll
videos.
send you some of our extras.
Excellent. All right. We will have a VeggieTales marathon. Anyway, that is totally off topic. I think we have time for one more question, and then I have something else I want us to do. So Patty asks, this is good because this one is about Hans, and we haven't talked about Hans or Kristoff yet, and we did include Hans as one of the princes, and obviously he's gone. I'm glad that there was actually some people that voted for Hans, and I really hope that was like a joke or like, whoops, my finger slipped through me. But her question is, why was the character of Prince Hans such a betrayal to the audience? So I think this is about like,
easy
spoiler. I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen this, sorry, Frozen is like the #1 grossing animated film of all time. So we're going to spoil it for you. Sorry. You know, Hans turns out to be like an evil psychopath, and people really cried foul. Like a lot of people cried foul about this. And I think so. I think the question is sort of like, why? Like, is it just that, like, you know, he's evil? Is it because there was no foreshadowing? I mean, what is it about this twist that got people so upset? Does anyone have any thoughts about that?
Well, I think it was because there was no foreshadowing. It was right off. It was just suddenly. There's like what people have pointed out. There's a scene when he's singing the song with Anna where he says, "I've been looking my whole life for my own place," and he points to the castle, and people say, "Oh, look, foreshadowing." I'm like, that's not enough. You know, it's like. So I think that's why it's just there was absolutely no sign, even when they're in Elsa's snow castle, he's still acting noble and he's still acting brave. And so I think that I think that's why it was such a harsh slap in the face whenever you find out that he's really a villain.
I would actually, I would be willing to accept the song, you know, and there's other parts of the song too. That's like, okay, clearly this isn't going to work out between him and Anna. You get that from the song, but it's still not sufficient foreshadowing it. He's actually secretly like an evil, diabolical, really, really bad guy. And yeah, I totally agree. You don't get that, especially when, and I would be willing to accept that, except like you just pointed out in the castle, he actually stops a dude from shooting Elsa with a crossbow. He goes out of his way to save her. I'm like, wait, that, what?
Yeah, he's nice, like even when no one's looking. Like it's totally like for our benefit. Like it's totally like a gotcha. Like it's set up so that like we could never ever know, and even like unfair. Like, you know, like there has to be. My husband taught me this word, and I love it. It has to be post-dictable, right? Like you have to have been like, even if you didn't guess it, you have to be able to go back and be like, oh, okay, like these are the way, like these are the places where it happened, and like there just wasn't anything. But go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, this is just what I thought watching the film was when Anna started hanging around with Hans. I was like, oh, they're gonna do a boyfriend swap. So Anna's gonna fall in love with Hans, but then this noble prince from the Southern Islands, he's actually gonna be the one falling in love with Elsa. That's honestly what I thought was going to happen, and I think whispered it to my wife, and she like elbowed me, "Be quiet! I'm trying to watch the movie." But you know, I honestly thought that was what was gonna happen. That was gonna be the big twist.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, like I certainly cried foul for this, and I think probably other people do too. I don't know, but it's obviously meant to be a kind of like the death of Prince Charming. Like it's obviously meant to be like, this is what Prince Charming is. He's fake, right? Like, and he doesn't exist. You know, you can't marry a man you just met, or how could you possibly? I mean, everybody says that to her, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, like maybe you can't in real life, but in a fairy tale, you actually really can, because love at first sight is a trope that symbolizes something, right? So it's like, I also think it was kind of like it's not just that like, oh, she's actually going to go for this scruffy guy that talks to his reindeer, which is really weird, by the way, but it's not just that.
I talk to my dog all the time. I can't fault him for that.
You talk as your dog. You talk as the dog.
No.
And also, do you eat food that was previously inside of the dog's mouth?
No, I don't do that.
Great. So yeah, he's weird, and like, so fine. I mean, she can go for him, and we've seen that before in Beauty and the Beast, hello, and all these other guys that we were talking about. But it's just like, no, it can't just be that. It has to be that this guy is an evil psycho, and I think that's sort of a comment on like Disney princes, like the trope of Prince Charming.
Yes, and I actually can add to this a little bit too. So like historically too, like so it's kind of drawing on the realism aspect and like the history, like the historical perspective from it. There are actually lots of people, like he's 13th in line for the throne. Like when I actually heard that, I actually was like, oh, this is gonna be a bad guy. Because well, I mean, like I'm not proud of it, but one of the things that I've struggled with personally in my life is sibling rivalry. And I mean, like I have two literal geniuses for a sister, and they both have these like high power feminist jobs. And I'm sitting here writing stories.
And you're awesome.
Yeah, so it's really the temperamental artist surrounded by these pillars of just, you know, feminine accomplishment. and so when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be that guy then, because this guy, there's no way that you can be 13th in line for a throne and not feel insecure and petty, and like you have to do the right thing, but you still just don't really want to because there's no absolute payoff for it.
Well, there you go. That's foreshadowing. Then you got it.
Well, you know what's kind of funny? Oh, sorry.
It's so subtle, and it's so like it's almost like a very small niche, because I can't, like I said, there are not a lot of people like me that would like probably pick that up.
well, you know what's funny is Once Upon a Time, for those who are just still watching the show out of stubbornness like me, when they got to the Frozen story arc, they tried to fix Hans, because like you said, he's not really the Prince Charming character, and he's weird, more like a hipster. But in Once Upon a Time, they actually tried to make Hans Prince Charming, and you know they made him brave and courageous. I mean, he tries to save Anna from spoiler it from the show. I don't care; it's canceled anyway, I think. So, but he tries to save her, like she's drowning in a ship, and he jumps in and tries to rescue her, and ultimately Elsa saves them both. But I just think it's really interesting that Once Upon a Time, the writers of Once Upon a Time realized that, and they're like, hey, we can actually fix Hans for the show. And so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was obviously like, I mean, back to the question, like it was obviously, I think, at least a little bit of a miscalculation on their part, because people definitely were like, you need to have given us some kind of heads up that this was not going to work. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah. Once Upon a Time is like, you have to just be really stubborn and finish it, because I couldn't stop watching Once Upon a Time because of Hook. I just was really into that character. No, but like, but no, I'm obsessed with the Beast, and any character that resembles the Beast, and Hook falls into that category that we were just talking about. Anyway, let's move on. Okay,
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing that I think that kind of threw people off is that there's like when Anna is like dying and he could like save her and stuff, there's no like little reason that he couldn't just, like even if it didn't work, he couldn't just like try to save her. So I mean, like, if you think about it, trying to save her would have been better for him, especially if he wanted the throne. Like, he actually, I mean, like, if he wanted the throne that bad real quick, well, the kiss didn't work, I guess you just don't love me much. He could have blamed her. She could have frozen to death. He would have inherited the kingdom. It would have been done.
Right. Yeah. It's actually more complicated, because he ends up being like, she died, but we said our marriage vows and whatever. It's more complicated.
Oh yeah, we totally believe you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, right. Okay, great.
Yes, that is probably the most unbelievable thing of that whole movie. I'm like,
right.
Do you know?
It's like he's won them over by his passing out of blankets so much that whatever. Okay. All right. This is the last thing that we're gonna do, and I'm excited about this, and you guys probably are gonna hate me. But before I say what it is, I'm just gonna remind people that we still have, at the end of this show, we're gonna announce the winner of people who's bet Prince, which is everyone is still in the running, the person who's gonna win The Princess and the Peacock at the very end. But you can still comment with your answer to what is the real name of the Beast. You can comment with that to win Jacob Airey's book. And you can comment just hi to any one of us to win a Saving Cinderella bookmark. And I will also mention, with all of our discussion of Ariel and Little Mermaid and whether she's great or not, and all of these other people, I will also mention that people can/should sign up for my Saving Cinderella class, in which I am going to talk about this. And if you totally disagree with me, you can also sign up to not yell at me, but politely debate with me about that. And so there's a link in the description of this video if you want to learn more about that. Okay, this is what I want to do now. We are going to play a Disney Prince trivia game show style. So this is how it works. I am going to ask a series of questions. If you know the answer, you should shout out, not the answer, you should shout out buzz, like buzz in, right? and then I will determine which one is first, okay? And you can give me your answer, and if you are correct, you will get a point. I have my handy pink pen right here to keep track. And if you are not correct, then one of the other two can guess and get a point. There are 10 questions, and you win absolutely nothing, but except bragging rights. So are you ready to play my fabulous Prince trivia game?
Let's do it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Question number 1. Name a prince who wakes his princess up with true love's kiss.
Buzz.
Okay, that's CJ.
Prince Philip.
Yes. Prince Philip is an acceptable answer, as would have been the Prince/Prince Florian. Yeah, Prince Florian, by the way, is his like name in like fan world, but in the movie, it's just the Prince. That's his name. Okay, good. Moving on, question 2. Which prince's best friend is a monkey?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Oh, that was Ginger.
Aladdin.
Aladdin is correct. Okay. Next question. I didn't write the numbers down, so I'm going to stop saying question 3 because I'm going to lose track. Name a prince who was a thief.
Buzz.
Okay, that was Jacob.
Flynn Rider.
Okay, yes, good. Flynn Rider was acceptable, as was Aladdin. Okay, Next question. Which prince said, "I'd rather die tomorrow than live 100 years without knowing you"?
Buzz.
CJ.
John Smith.
That is correct. John Smith. Okay.
I actually just watched that movie again with my kids this week.
Oh, I'm very sorry. My condolences.
We're taking Disney Mark Madness seriously here.
That's right. We take this really seriously. Okay. Next question. Which Disney prince doesn't sing at all?
Buzz. Isn't it Prince Charming?
Nope. He sings "So This Is Love."
Oh,
but
dang it.
Buzz. Buzz.
Ginger.
Flynn.
Flynn sings I See the Light. So, CJ, do you have a guess? You guys are going to be so shocked.
Okay. I'm like,
No.
would it be Kristoff? Oh.
Nope. Kristoff sings To the Reindeer.
Oh, okay.
The answer to this is Prince Eric.
Okay.
That's right.
Isn't that crazy? I had to look that up. Okay. All right. Next one. Which Disney prince, other than the Beast, has facial hair?
Buzz.
CJ.
Flynn Rider.
That is correct. Very good. Okay. Which Disney prince has a non-American accent?
Buzz.
Jacob.
Naveen.
That is correct. Very
Oh,
good.
nice.
All right.
That's good. Good. I completely forgot about him.
Okay. How old is the prince when the enchantress turns him into a beast in the 1991 animated version of Beauty and the Beast?
Buzz.
CJ.
Isn't he 11?
He is 11. Very good.
Wow. He was
Not
that
in the
horrible
retcon.
at 11? Wow.
I don't think you actually find it out.
But not in the retcon. In the Enchanted Christmas, he's older.
Is that true?
Yeah, they retconned it in Enchanted. Yeah, they made him 18 in that one.
Which makes more sense. I mean, you really can't blame an 11-year-old for.
You
like,
wouldn't think so, but
No.
you know.
No. And the only reason we know he's 11 is because it says that the rose will bloom for 10 years until his 21st birthday.
Okay.
Right.
That's weird.
So it's obviously just like a mistake. Like they obviously like weren't really thinking about it. And
Right.
then it was like, oops, that makes him 11. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, even in the artwork where they're talking, he doesn't look 11. He looks
No.
18.
And in
so.
the Broadway version, they changed that narration at the beginning to say it will bloom for many years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
An easier fix.
Exactly. We don't have to think about this. Sorry. Okay. All right. There are two more questions. Which Disney prince doesn't kiss the princess in the film?
No.
Okay. I'm going to have like sing the Jeopardy music or something. Okay. I will give you a
What?
hint.
Be Han in that case?
Is
What?
it Kristoff?
No, Kristoff.
No, Kristoff?
Oh, Buzz.
Yes.
Is it
Jacob.
Shang?
Yes,
Is it
it is
Disney?
Shang.
Yes.
I know. I think CJ also said that, but
Oh,
okay. But
I
she has
remember
other
him
points.
one time.
Okay. Next one. This is the last question, I think. Yes. Name a prince who isn't given a name in the film.
Buzz. Prince.
But yeah, from which film?
Oh, Snow White.
That is correct. Yes, that would have worked. So would Prince Charming, and so would the Beast. So, all right, good job. The winner with 4 points is CJ.
yeah.
You
Good
win
job.
nothing, but you can brag. Okay. All right.
I'm not bragging, so don't worry, guys.
All right, now it is time. The time has come for us to choose, to randomly select the winner of votes, people whose bet is still in the, I don't know how to say this, whatever. If you bet and your prince is still in the running, then I am now going to randomly select one person who will win a copy of C.S. Johnson's book, The Princess and the Peacock. I'm going to do that by clicking over here, and I previously put all these things into a random, no, I don't know, can you see me? Okay, I previously put all your names into a random name picker thing, and I'm now going to press a button, and it's going to tell us, and I wish you could see it on screen, it would be so awesome, but you can't, but promise I'm doing it. Okay, the winner is Joanne Stein. So, Joanne Stein, if you are watching, you just won a copy of The Princess and the Peacock. If you're not watching, why not? But also, we will send you an email. Okay, so, and in the last, 1 minute that we have, people can still write in with the name of the beast, or just hi, to be entered in our other drawings. So, March Madness is still ongoing. Then round 2 will begin this coming week. So I think starting tomorrow with the Beast versus Prince Eric. Please do not
That's
kill
gonna
me.
be a tough one. It really.
Please.
Taking those antacids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and continuing with other fun matchups throughout the week. So that is happening. check in with us on Twitter. And then we are going to do, there's going to be another episode of Princess State of Mind next week on Friday. And everyone at 10 a.m. Eastern. Apparently it's not Eastern Standard Time anymore because we had daylight savings. It's Eastern Daylight Time.
Whatever.
Very confused.
It's Eastern Time.
Yeah, Eastern.
Okay. That's what I do.
Right, exactly. Well, so a huge thank you to all of my guests, C.S. Johnson, Ginger, and Jacob Airey. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. And I hope everyone will tune back in and check in with March Madness. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.